This meeting is being recorded.
All right, so good morning, everyone. Today's session is one of my favorites. It's about the business planning guide. So what we're going to do is start our goals and our objectives for 2024. Yes, it's still 2023, but we don't want to wait until January to get this going. Thank you all for joining because you're showcasing that you want to go ahead and put your best foot forward for the new year coming up. So let's get going. Please go ahead and download and access your 2024 business planning guide that was sent out to you via email. If you do not see it, it is also available already inside of ONE University. So you can go there and download it. We're going to go over a few basic things before we jump into the actual training of it, right? And again, this is a workshop, so I want you guys to actively do the different things that's inside of this worksheet for you guys, as opposed to just listening to me talk. So there's going to be moments where I give you about 5 minutes or so to actually fill in some numbers and fill in the blanks, right? So why do we set goals? Setting goals for yourself is a way to fuel your ambition, giving you a long-term vision while holding yourself accountable. It allows you to measure your performance so that you can improve with each goal obtained, right? And we all know we're in a business and we're working to build our business, but we have to keep in mind goals are beyond just your business goals, right? Yeah. So we're talking business/career, we're talking family goals, we're talking spiritual and personal development, health, right? Why most do not set goals, the number one reason why people don't set goals is because they fear failure, right? Or they don't know what they want, or they lack the motivation. Sometimes it's a combination of all of those things. And so we don't want to be stuck in a place of fear. We don't want to be stuck in a place of uncertainty, right? We want to have a crystal clear vision of exactly what it is that we're looking to achieve. I'm a big believer in vision boards as well. So I have multiple vision boards on pretty much every one of my screens that consistently keep me in tune with what my vision, what my goals are. And again, I find that if you can see it on a daily basis, multiple times a day, the likelihood of you actually achieving those goals, they increase dramatically. So that said, those with clearly written goals accomplish 5 to 10 times more than those without written goals. I love the book Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And you'll find that most people never write their goals down. And the ones that do actually achieve them for the most part, right? All right, so best practices. We're going to design a plan of action that works for you. Remember, these are all your goals. These are not my goals. These are not shared goals. These are your goals that you're looking to achieve for 2024. And we want to start now. Let me go ahead and get back to the screen. All right. So I'm not going to read through all of this stuff, right? You guys know a goal is the result or achievement toward which effort is directed, right? Whereas an objective is a specific result that a person or system aims to achieve within a time frame and with available resources, right? All right, so best practices. Design a plan of action that works for you. We're going to review the previous year's business goals. We're going to estimate the number of transactions needed to reach your goals for 2024, right? We're going to consistently prospect and establish a minimum number of prospecting contacts, right? So if you're new, 95% of your time should be spent finding new business. What people fail to realize is we are all independent contractors, right? We are constantly looking for our next job, our next opportunity, our next assignment. So the moment you stop prospecting is the moment that your business could potentially suffer, right? So we want to create a monthly marketing plan, a budget, and a schedule. And you want to calculate the cost for specific marketing touches that you select, right? Measure and track your results, right? So these goals need to be measurable and trackable, right? Attainable, realistic. So we're going to create a daily schedule, and you're going to categorize your daily tasks by TPIN, right? And so what TPIN is the total hours worked for T, the productive hours worked. So anytime that you are face to face in a selling situation with the client, right? So we're talking listing presentations, we're talking buyer consultations, we're talking actually showing properties, we're talking writing contracts, right? And then I is indirectly productive, which is going to be any activity that could result in a face-to-face selling situation with the client, right? That's all forms of prospecting, whether that's cold calling, open houses, door knocking, FISBOs, expires, social media, video, talking to people daily about real estate. There should never be a day that goes by. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're co-career. There should never be a day that goes by where you're not having a conversation about real estate. Let me let someone in the meeting 1 second, y'all. Good morning, Tanisha. Oh, I didn't let her in yet. There we go. Good morning. Tanisha, if you could go ahead and pop open your 2024 business planning guide, which was sent out via email early this morning. And if you cannot find it for whatever reason, please download it from ONE University. Should be at the very top.
I do have it. Thank you so much.
Awesome. My pleasure. Well, we're going. We're talking about TPIN right now, and we're at N, which is the non-productive time. So page 5. The non-productive time is going to be everything else, right? So that's the admin task, that's the paper pushing, right? That's the trainings, that's the meetings. So what you guys are doing right now is non-productive in regards to the TPIN schedule, right? It's going to be beneficial, but we don't count that towards the productive time, right? Vision without action is merely a dream. Action without vision just passes the time. Vision with action can change the world. Joel Barker. All right, so this is going to be one of those moments where you guys take a few minutes and I want you to look at your 2023 and we're going to really reflect on what happened and what didn't happen, right? So we want to look at how much you made in 2023 up to this point. We want to look at the total closed transactions. We want to look at how many listing appointments, listings taken, listings sold, buyer appointments, buyers taken, buyers sold, right? And so what that might look like for buyers, for instance, buyer appointments may be how many buyer consults have I done? Or if you haven't done them and you just started taking people on showings, how many people have I met with? How many potential assignments did I get? From those, how many of those were taken? Meaning how many of those signed an exclusive buyer brokerage engagement agreement with me to have me represent their interests, right? And sold speaks for itself. Let's look at what your goals were and if you achieved them, right? So take some time to fill out this page. That's going to be page 6. And I'll give everybody just a few minutes for this page. How much did you make? Total closed transactions, listing appointments, buyer appointments, listings taken, buyers taken. What's your goal? About 30 more seconds and we're going to move on. It should look a lot different. Everybody.
This was, in addition to the goals we set last year, this was just a tricky year. this whole year was just, it was just like,
For everybody.
it was a tricky year.
We've lost 1 in 4 realtors this year.
Great.
Exactly.
No, that's really great.
No, seriously. A lot of them shouldn't have been in the business in the first
They
place.
shouldn't have been. Mm-hmm.
So, and we'll touch on some things too as we go out that I find very interesting in the way. And I've been saying this for years and years and years and years and years, and things are finally coming to fruition when it comes to adding value to your clients. So keep this stuff in mind, but don't get discouraged if your numbers aren't where they want to be. Because again, the outlook for 2024 is going to be incredible for those people that put forth the effort and showcase their value to their clients, right? And the amount of compensation that can be directly correlated with that is phenomenal. It's an incredible opportunity. All right, so what were your estimated costs and your investment of operations? Remember, you're running a business. Each one of you are an entrepreneur, right? The estimated cost versus the investment of operations, right? So description on the left-hand column and the investment on the right-hand column, right? That includes your monthly investment for all of the tools that you guys have access to, right? That includes marketing material, prospecting channels.
Business cards, postcards.
Absolutely.
Any service, any apps that you pay for.
Absolutely. And one thing that this is going to be incredible with for anybody that's using a lot of third-party vendors for certain things, you're going to realize you're going to eliminate practically 95% or more of what you're paying for outside of Realty ONE Group, because we literally have everything that you need, quite honestly. There might be 1 or 2 things, depending upon what you specialize in, that you might have to access outside of our tools, but the bulk of your business, everybody can make $1 million plus with just the tools that we have, guaranteed. If you put forth the effort and you use the tools the right way, guaranteed. And I don't make guarantees, but it's proven, right? I've done it with less, right? So it's like when you have the tools to be successful, it's up to you to utilize those tools, right? Somebody can't force you to use them. And our group, I'm not even gonna lie, our group does an incredible job with really filtering out the vendors that work for what we're looking to achieve, which is the growth of our agents, right? And the success of our agents. So you have the best tools. A couple more seconds and we're gonna move on. All right. So now we get to the good stuff. Where did my business come from in 2023? Right? How many closed transactions resulted from the following sources? Right? So you want to reflect on the business closed. What was your average sales price? What was your average commission percentage? What was your average gross commission income? Right? We want to look at your network, right? So past clients, sphere of influence, allied resources, realtor referrals, staff referrals, or company leads, right? How many of those listings did you get? How many of those buyers did you get? And we're only talking closed business in this this particular section, right? So how much money did you make from that? How much did it cost you to make that money, right? So now we're looking at what the net income was. So now we can identify from our network, just from past clients, I was able to net $10,000. Sphere of influence, I was able to net $7,000, and so on and so forth, right?
Now define sphere of influence for some people, because I know that question has come up to me. Is sphere of influence, in my opinion, it doesn't have to just be your immediate family or friends. It can be affinity groups that you are attached to.
Absolutely.
It can be if you are part of, I don't know, mothers, teachers, what are they called? PTA.
Yeah.
PTA.
Absolutely.
Groups. That can be a sphere of influence. A yoga class that you go to regularly can be a sphere of influence.
The way I like to define it is if I can touch you directly.
Got you.
If I can get to you without having to get through somebody else, I can get directly to you. That's going to be my sphere. Not necessarily a prospect though, right? Because that's going to be a little bit different. That's farming. But my sphere of influence is anybody who I can immediately touch, right? You're in my database directly, right? That's my sphere. That's why you want to constantly build your sphere, build your database, right? Because it could be somebody who I just met on the way up the elevator in this building, right? That's part of my sphere now. If I add them to my database, if we have that conversation and then I don't follow up with them, there's somebody else's sphere and not mine, right? Great question. So then we also want to look at FSBOs. A lot of people, their entire business is FSBOs. Some people, their entire business is expires. Some people make so much money off of open houses, it's ridiculous. And a lot of people fear doing open houses. An open house should automatically be a piece of your marketing efforts for every single listing that you do. Every single one. That is one of the best billboards you can possibly have ever, right? And you want to, but what you also want to consider is directionals, right?
Yeah.
Flyers, various pieces. But if I get a listing in a neighborhood, not only is everybody getting just listed, pending sale, just closed, right? They're probably also going to get a market report for me.
Yeah.
And they're also going to see my directionals every weekend that I do an open house, right? So they're not just seeing the open house and some balloons. They're going to see a directional at the corner, another directional at the other corner, another directional at the other corner, a directional at the light leading up to the neighborhood, and so on and so forth, right? It's all about buying mind share, right? So don't look at open house like that's something that's antiquated. That's something that definitely works, and it helps create you, it positions you as the expert in that neighborhood.
Additionally, it doesn't have to be your open house. So if you don't currently have a listing, you can always request to host an open house, someone else's listing.
Yeah.
What do you feel about hosting open houses for listing agents of other brands?
I don't like it. It's not illegal.
Right.
But I find that it doesn't always, I wouldn't do it. That's not something I've ever done. And personally, I've never held an open house for anyone else.
Gotcha.
But that's my own personal preference. I know some people, a good buddy of mine, he's not with us, but a good buddy of mine, he used to hold everybody's open house.
Somebody's trying to get in.
Thank you. He used to hold everyone's open house, right? And he's a top producer now.
Yes, it's good business, good marketing. There's listings on your team. Always ask.
Absolutely. And we have a lot of people in our organization that needs assistance with open houses. We have people that need assistance with actually going to listing appointments. We have people that need assistance with showing appointments, right? So you want to build that camaraderie and collaborate with individuals. I would stick in our brand if you can. But again, if there's somebody and they're like, hey, I got $1 million open house and I need somebody and I don't trust anybody in my organization, would you hold it open for me? Right.
I think about it specifically if you're trying to farm a specific neighborhood. You really want to brand yourself in a specific neighborhood. Because you can always use your own directionals.
Yeah.
You can always use your own directionals. And then
Well, I think that's where it gets a little sticky though. Because if you were using your directional, but the open house is for XYZ company and not Realty ONE Group, then from a GREC compliance perspective, it gets a little, muddy. So you want to make sure that come on in and join us. Who's that?
Okay.
Oh, hey, Mo.
I got Marshall with me. So
Okay, cool. Marshall can join too. So, see, perfect. That's what you want to do. Collaborate, right? But yeah, so open houses are huge. They can be very beneficial. And to your point, that same market spend that I would have to do an open house for somebody else, I would just do a market report and send that to the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. And so those market reports still position you as the expert, even if you've never done the deal. Right. So it's like, because now you're providing that information that people are looking to retain and to receive. Right. You're telling them how many properties just are listed currently in that neighborhood, how many sold recently, how many are under contract. It has your information. You're not implying that any of those are your listings by any means. You're just giving them information as the expert. And so you're buying that market share, and they're very inexpensive, right? And we actually have another partner too that we have, and we'll go into that at a later date, but we have another partner that's going to be able to really improve the conversion rate of the type of marketing piece that you send out. It's called core fact. So you'll probably see that in your one login. So geo-farming, which I love dearly. I think that you become a market expert in a neighborhood and you can eat forever. You know, and each neighborhood can result in over $100,000 per, annually for you. So like you have 10 of those, that's $1 million annually, right? Just by being a neighborhood expert. Those 10 neighborhoods could all be adjacent one another.
Define geo-farming?
Geographic farming. So we're talking a specific location.
Oh, yeah.
So that could be a neighborhood, that could be a sub-market, that could be a high-rise condominium building, that could be a townhome development. It could be a city if the city is small enough. Yep. Just listed, just sold, right? How many people did I get from my just listed, just solds, right? And you'll know, and you want to ask questions. So how did you hear about me? How did you hear about my team? How did you hear about my company? Right? And they'll let you know, oh yeah, I got that just listed postcard. It was phenomenal. Whatever it may be. Right? So sign calls, how many people are calling you off of your signs that you've transacted with once they called you off of your signs? And we're inside the business planning guide mode. Ad calls, right? So advertising, how many people have called you off of direct advertising, whether that's a billboard, right? Whether that's you're doing an ad in a magazine. I used to do ads in these golf magazines all of the time. So all of the little golf courses throughout Atlanta, I used to be one of the advertisers in that, and I didn't get that many calls. So I stopped advertising in that, right? Yeah. But because I realized that nobody was saying that they saw me in those magazines. I was paying a lot for that. Right, so you want to be able to identify exactly where that's coming from. Sorry, that's my Sopranos ringtone going off. Internet websites. This could be a big business for everybody. If you're not building a business off of your website, you're doing it wrong. You need to fix something, right? Internet and websites are huge. And again, you guys have the tools to be able to go out there and create standalone websites for various components. So if you are, what you should be, if you are a geographical expert somewhere, you should absolutely have a website created for that geographic territory. So if I'm the 1010 Midtown king of, condos, right? I need to have a website that's directly related to 1010 Midtown. It takes me all of 20 minutes max to get it done, right? With the tools that you guys have. And you don't have to pay for another one, right? What I would do is pay for another domain through like Hover or something, and say 1010midtowncondos.com, and then just redirect that website to that domain. But this is a big piece of business. Brand/office, direct mail, social media. Some people are monsters on social media. You can build a big business from that, right? Other. So, but what we want to consider is how we want to look at the actual numbers. How many listings did I get in sale from this? How many buyers did I get in close from this, right? How much did that cost me? What did I make from it? That's my net income. Now we want to look at transactions per side, right? So we're looking at listings versus buy side, and then we want to collectively see what that looks like, right? And where should I be putting more of my energy for 2024, right? Once you have identified the source of your business and your estimated expense/investment statement, please enter into the snapshot tab in the worksheet provided, One Business Snapshot. You guys will be receiving that later if you don't already have it, but you can also download it now from One University, but I purposely didn't do it because I don't want to go off on a tangent. All right, but with that, you'll complete tab 1 of 3. What you're looking at right now, for instance, is an Excel sheet. So this is going to be that tab. This will be the other tab. So the transaction source, past clients, sphere of influence, allied resources, realtor referrals, staff referrals. It goes down the list, just like we saw on the other. And then we move on. So this would be tab 2 in the Excel sheet. So as I mentioned, we're not going to go through the Excel, but just to give you an idea. Now, everybody take a minute, and after reviewing those numbers, hopefully you were writing those numbers down while I was talking, right? If you didn't already finish it. So if I could have done one thing differently, it would have been what? So take some time, a couple of minutes, and write down what you would have done differently if you could.
All of the line items.
Everything.
A lot of this we've answered too, or at least we should have in the what was it, the check-in?
Yep. If you did the check-in.
Yeah.
I see some people online that didn't do the check-in, but hey, that's a whole nother story. We're not gonna pick on anyone. Dude, am I sharing? Yeah, okay. Let me find my check-in, because I actually had my check-in was probably pretty long. I could share plenty of things. One, pick up the damn phone. Most people don't ever pick up the phone. Man. And that's gonna be the biggest, man, if you just pick up the phone and call people, that in itself will put so much money in your pocket.
100%.
No question about it. Pick up the phone, right? Be intentional with what you're looking to achieve. Have a business plan in the first place, right? Some people don't even have a business plan, so they don't know where they're going. They don't know where to start, right? You know, there's a lot, but it's going to be specific to you, right? Because his is going to look different than yours because y'all have different sets of challenges throughout the day, right? So, but yeah, I would say if anything, pick up the phone, right? Make it a point to prospect daily.
Intentional, yeah.
You know, be purposeful with receiving that information and implementing it into your CRM, so your CRM can work for you, right? A lot of people, it shit sounds great, but they don't do none of the work. It's like you got the tools and they just sit there. Nobody's putting anything in the tools. So how you gonna get anything coming out of it, right? Your output starts directly from your input. If you're not inputting anything in your database, you're not gonna get anything out of it, right? Great question though. Biggest lesson learned. Biggest lesson learned. What was the biggest lesson you've learned so far this year? Right? Oh, I didn't do anything for my business. That's why I didn't get no damn money. Right? Yeah, you have to, again, it starts with a step. And it's like, it's a lot, so it appears overwhelming, especially as a brand new agent.
It does.
It starts with one step. I always ask people, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. You're not getting the whole elephant down. Even if you got the biggest appetite in the world, you're not getting that whole elephant down in one sitting, right? One bite at a time. And I'm probably not gonna start with the toenails because I don't want to eat elephant toenails. I'm gonna start with the meat. Well, you know what I mean? So focus on the stuff that you want, the high value stuff. And then if I get around to that, I might, but I'm probably gonna be ending up with another elephant, right? Where I'm eating the stuff I want. I don't know if I would ever want to eat any part of an elephant, but you get the picture.
Thank you.
Biggest lesson.
Qualification. Make sure you understand that.
Biggest lesson learned. And then we're gonna move on over to 2024 goals. Yogi Berra. If you don't know where you are going, you'll end up someplace else. All right, 2024 goals. How much money do you want to make? The income. How much money do you want to make? Everybody has a fallout rate. No matter how incredible of an agent you are, some deals are going to fall apart, right? And we can look at our previous, deals from the past, right? So our historical performance and see what that fallout rate is going to look like, right? So for every 10 listings I take, I get 8 sold. For every 20 buyers that I work with, I get 16 closings, right? Whatever that looks like.
What do you consider if you have a listing and then it came off market and then you relisted, you ended up relisting it later?
I would say if it's sold, I would include it as a sold. If it didn't sell, I would include it as a fallout.
So it would still be considered one fallout and then maybe two potential transactions or pending transaction. I mean,
well, it would be one transaction potentially still.
Okay.
But if it fell out, I would still incorporate. Well, again, if it came off the market, it depends on the reason, right? And since you relisted it, I would just say that's one transaction, one pending. Average sales price. So again, we're looking at our historical performance. If you're a brand new agent, you're looking at where you want to be, right? Number of agreements to take. How many exclusive seller and buyer brokerage engagement agreements would you like to have in 2024? Number of transactions closed, right? The geographic areas served. Know your market. All right, so why is this goal important to you? What will it bring you or allow you to accomplish? If you do not hit this goal, who will suffer? What will be sacrificed, right? What drives or motivates you? How will your goal fill the 6 human needs below, which is stability, variety, significance, growth, contribution, connection, right? Again, it's bigger than just the numbers. And once you actually place the why behind it, you have that burning desire that you can always ignite when you need it, right? When times get challenging, you can remember why you're doing this in the first place. And if you don't do it, how is that going to impact your family? How is that going to impact you, right? I tell people all the time, it's not the money itself, it's what the money will do, right? Couple more seconds and we're gonna move on. And fill this stuff out too, y'all, for those that I can't see on the screen right now, right? Don't just watch this and look at the screen and twiddle your thumbs. This is for you to build your business, right? Lock into this stuff so you can make 2024 exactly what you want it to be. All right, so this would be the an additional tab on the Excel sheet that everybody's getting. What is your one business solution? So desired profit, how much money do you want to make? Your budgeted expenses, your average commission rate, and your average sales price, right? And then we're going to look at transaction benchmarks. And how do we do that? Your desired profit plus your budgeted expenses equals the revenue that you need, right? So if you're looking to make 100,000 and your expenses are going to equate to 10,000, then that means you need 110,000, right? To be able to make that 100K. And then revenue needed divided by your average commission. So if it's 3% equals the amount of closed transactions that you need to do. And then your closed volume divided by your average sales price will show you exactly how many transactions you need, right? It is unacceptable for my business to profit less than blank. And on the other end, you'll still see what we just went over from those other tabs. So all that information will be inputted there for you on the Excel. A couple more seconds and we're gonna move on.
This is the cleanest and simplest business plan that I've seen in any brokerage.
Man, you see what I'm saying? That's how we do over here.
This is really so very clear. And it's very specific because the reality is all the line items that you're answering, right? Specifically all the things that you've done this year, these are the line items you should focus on to build your business in the next coming year. Like you have a complete outline laid out in front of you.
Yep.
You know, I think other brokerages confuse a lot of, they start adding a whole bunch of tools.
Yeah.
Well, you can use this and you can use this, and I think it becomes overwhelming, just information.
Yeah.
And all that stuff is not necessary.
I agree.
You can put one thing in every line item and just roll it.
Yep.
This is amazing. Yep.
I actually was trying to convert this to a spreadsheet, but I printed it out earlier.
Well, this is a spreadsheet too.
They have it on
Yeah, but I wasn't able to download it as a spreadsheet.
I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Because I have it, but I have it as PDF. So I
Okay.
printed it out at home, so I have it there, but I can't do it.
Now we'll make sure everybody has the spreadsheet as well. Thanks.
Yeah, this is I love this.
Yeah. It's good stuff. All right, so moving on. Power questions.
This is good.
5 things I will do to increase my revenue in 2024. This is where the action begins, right? 5 things to keep/enhance my existing business, right? 5, not 2, not 3. 5.
Mhm.
Give us some examples.
Pick up the damn phone.
Well, we could already do that.
No, I'm
Like,
joking.
seriously though, if you could
Yeah.
say 5 things that you would say would be good things to, tell people, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say 1, pick up the phone seriously,
Mhm.
right? And make phone calls directly to your sphere. These are people I already have their number, right? These are people that I can touch, right? And not only those phone calls, but support those phone calls with emails, right? Emails and texts. But pick up the phone and call these people. They need to hear from you. If they're not hearing from you, they're hearing from somebody else. Even if they're not hearing from somebody else directly, they're hearing from them on social media, right? They're hearing from them on some kind of news blast, email blast, right? So it's like you want to pick up the phone and say, hey, just so you remember, right? In so many words, I'm the realtor of choice. I'm the person you need to talk to about real estate needs. But when you pick up that phone, you want to be adding value in some form or fashion, right? You don't want to just be calling and say, hey, remember, I'm a realtor, right? Again, it depends on your specific numbers that you're trying to achieve and your best skill sets. But if you do social media, I need to specifically create a marketing plan for social media. And again, you have stuff like ONE.U Creative Studio that's going to make that plan very easy for you. Then you can throw it into a Hootsuite and you don't even got to worry about posting. You just create it one time, take some time on the weekend, and now your whole month is done for your social media stuff. Geographic farming. I think that anybody that has a listing needs to dominate that market. It makes no sense not to. Just listed, pending sale, just sold at a minimum, right? Open house, send them, that's 4 flyers, right? Or 4 touches. The open house might be a phone call, or it might be a door knocking opportunity or something like that. But you want to touch these people as many times as possible. Make sure that everybody is inside of my database, right? Huge. That's what databases are created for. Most people don't realize that is your business, right? When all of you guys decide that you don't want to do this anymore, if you have a database, you can sell that database, right?
That's what business is.
Exactly. I remember years ago, maybe, I'm getting old, maybe close to 15 years ago, right? I'm looking at Clark Howard, and I found out that's how he made all of his money. I was like, from that point forward, I was like, I'm building a database.
That's how a lot of people make money. Because that's what business is.
That's exactly what
That's how you sell the doctor's office. That's how you sell any business.
100%.
It's just selling the client base.
100%. And most agents don't treat this as a business. So they don't worry about a database. They're like, oh, whatever. And then they just, as I mentioned when we first started, that we're constantly looking for our next assignment because we're independent contractors. And some people have stuff scattered all over the place that they just picking up what they can as opposed to being specific and structured with it, right? So making sure your database is on point, that's huge. And again, you have one of the most powerful databases through Sync, which is ONE.U. But I can go on and on and on. So again, the 5 things that you would do is going to be different than the 5 things that everybody else is going to do. Some of it might overlap, but it's specifically geared towards the goals that you're writing for 2024, right? So then if you say, I want to focus more on listings than buyers, then that plan is going to look a little bit different. But great question. Same thing, 5 things to keep/enhance my business, my existing business. If you're not in front of your past prospects daily, right? Weekly, monthly, stay in front of them, right? One of the best things about new home construction people that I really love, the on-site agents, well, good builders anyway, they're reaching out to that buyer like three or four times in a 120-day period after they bought the home. After they bought the home. You should never, and I am very guilty of this in my past because nobody told me this. You should never sell somebody a property or help them get into a property or help them sell a property and not check up on them immediately after, multiple times after, outside of just the regular drip campaigns that they're in. They need to begin a phone call from you. Hey, I'm just checking in, making sure everything's going well. Do you need anything from me? Do you know anybody that could use my services? Right? Do you know anybody else that I can help in the same fashion that I helped you guys out? Right? Constantly. Hey, do you need anything? I might send them something. Hey, just think about me, after the closing. These are things that, and again, if you're not, somebody else is, guarantee it.
That's so true. A lot of my clients, I'm still cool with. Like, I talk to them
Mhm.
about
On a regular
nothing.
basis.
Yeah, like we'll just pick up the phone and call each other.
Yep. And they gonna remember when it's time to sell or buy who to call.
Yeah.
It's
One of my
guaranteed.
ladies now, she bought in 2018 from me, and she's back. And then the people I just closed on last Friday, I've been talking to them daily. And his father's moving from Orlando back to Atlanta. He's using me.
See,
So it's just like
that's how it works.
just keeping in touch works.
100%. And they appreciate it and they realize it's not transactional. It's like, this is my advisor, this is my consultant for life. It's not somebody who just pushed some paper and got a check and then now I don't hear from them ever again, right? And that's how a lot of us get written as. 5 things to generate referrals. You got to ask for them. I don't like to beg for referrals, but you want to imply that, hey, I'm the person that you need to come to if you know anybody that's looking to do some business in real estate, right? 5 things to improve my quality of service. So what could you do better in that component, right? If your marketing looks bad, that's horrible because you're with us and our marketing is phenomenal. So if nothing else, tap into our marketing things, right? Phone calls, that's huge. People appreciate that human to human connection, especially with us being in such a virtual world nowadays. They really appreciate a phone call. 5 people and how I will incorporate them into my success or into the success of my business, right? That might look like me as a lender. That might look like somebody as an attorney. That might look like anything that you can imagine. It doesn't have to be limited to real estate specific services, but 5 people and how I will incorporate them into the success of my business. That might be, I know the CEO at Delta or the CEO of Home Depot, right? Or somebody that's not the CEO, but that works there that I know can provide me with a ton of business that I can add a ton of value to them and to their peers, right? Whatever. But if you want to be specific with this stuff and then target them, and before you know it, it's like, oh wow, now you have the whole relocation, agreement with Microsoft or something. If you had blank, more money, more time, an assistant, some tool, could you achieve your goal? How can you get this? What is your greatest strength? What makes you unique, right? Your unique value proposition, your UVP. This has gotten lost over the years because people started to trip into deals, right? Going back to my point of 1 in 4 realtors leaving the business, right? They didn't have a unique value proposition. They was just there. I'm just a breathing body. They're not adding value. This is why Anywhere, Remax, everybody's paying 80 million plus to settle these court cases that we got going on, right? With the commission. And so that's because there was no value there. They was just like, no, y'all forced these people to get paid when they didn't do anything. And I don't like it. Because me, I had to pay more because of that. Right? So now you guys are going to start seeing immediately, effective immediately, right? With even anywhere in Remax and a few others, they're saying you don't even have to be, these are all brands that were, it made it mandatory to be a realtor, to be with their organization. And now they're not making it mandatory because they just had to cut a check for $80 million. So they're saying you can be a realtor if you want to, not because you have to anymore, right? Because there's no value. They don't see the value in that organization. They've been let down. I would too if I had to cut an $80 million check, right?
But what was it? I mean, I know that's kind of getting off.
Yeah,
but I saw that on.
Long story short, just like I've been saying for years, the buyers always pay the commission anyway. They're the one bringing the money to the table, right? But so long story short, you guys, right? If you try to put something in, I don't know if FMLS does this, but I'm just going to use it as an example. FMLS, you have to put a commission that you're going to be offering an agent, a buy side agent.
There's a minimum. There was
a minimum
there was
commission.
A minimum commission that they were required.
Right? And so it should be able to be $0. We do this shit all the time in commercial, right? All the time in commercial. It's like you get paid by your buyer, I'll get paid by my seller, right? If you want to make some money, that's on you. Your buyer has to pay you, right? And I know that going into the deal. You feel me? Because I'm calling, I'm asking, hey, what's the compensation on this one? Right. Oh, no points, or 25 basis points, which is 25.25% of the deal. The rest you got to get from your buyer, right? So you have to be adding enough value to your buyer to make it worth their while to pay you. It's simple.
That's not gonna happen in residential though.
No, it's already happening.
It's already happening.
It's happening now.
That's what the lawsuits are.
Yeah, and so now NAR to save face is saying now, and they trying to make it seem like they said it this way the whole time. They was like, we were saying you can put $1. Now you can put $0. It's like, no, you see, man, y'all know how
we were making it required. So the lawsuits were, the people who sued were like different states or different counties that were suing on behalf of the sellers in their area, because they had a minimum requirement of what commissions were, what commissions could be set. That didn't appear technically they were negotiable, but the way that they were presented was not. They said that they weren't negotiable. This is what commissions are. And so they, to the tune of like 80, like, and it's not just one brokerage. It's like
it's a bunch.
It's like tens of brokerages across.
I've seen that, but Georgia's not affected though, because we don't.
No, that's the thing.
It's nationally.
So the lawsuit was for the state. I think it's Missouri. The lawsuits, both suits, same state, impacts everybody.
Yeah.
Anywhere owns Coldwell Banker, Sotheby's, so on and so forth. That's across the board. So they saying, NAR, y'all need to step it up now. Y'all have to figure this part out, because we're not going to be married to you in the same fashion that we were. Because again, NAR is the one saying we as listing agents need to compensate the buyer side. That's what they're saying, right?
Right. So it'll eventually, I think it's going to reform how all brokerages operate in the rest of the country. So it'll eventually trickle down. Like once the public largely becomes informed, then the way that we do business, especially on the buying side, is going to change significantly.
That's gonna ruin everything.
No, it's not.
It's not going to ruin everything. It's just going
The
to.
interest rates, you think buyers want to pay an additional outside of their?
No. So
Technically,
they
they're already doing. Technically, they're doing it.
Hey, what's up, man?
Right. That's
So we got to get back on track though.
All right.
Okay.
But to your point, all we have to do is focus on listings, and a lot of the people are going to be able to buy directly from the listing agent. They're going to, if their buyer agent isn't providing value, they're going to go straight to the listing agent.
Mm-hmm.
It's that simple. So moving on. What resources do you have for this? That's people, things, tools. What 3 skill sets do you want to focus on adding or improving in 2024? What resources will you use to get these? What do you need the most help with? What are your weekly fundamentals? Your main weekly realistic goals, both personally and professionally. Good business leaders create a vision, articulate the vision, and relentlessly drive it to completion, right? Focusing on success. You're going to write down your goals for each quarter in these boxes. Each quarter, remember, we're taking that elephant and we're breaking it up. If we're talking 100K, it might look like 25K per quarter, or maybe one quarter with 15, one quarter with 30, and so on and so forth. To achieve your goals, health habits needed, poor habits to stop, right?
Feel like shots were fired.
2024 summary. So what is your goal for 2024? What is your mission statement for 2024? Daily rocks. These are the people who are more inclined to embrace and own a rock than a goal or task. Rocks are less intimidating. List your rocks that you must accomplish to meet your fundamental goals. Skill sets of focus. Your circle of greatness, right? This is your sphere of influence, not in the same capacity as prospecting. Those who inspire and encourage and bring out the greatness in you, right? If I'm not on everybody's sphere, we got a problem. Notes. All right. And then, so that's pretty much it in a nutshell. Those are the main things that we really wanted to get in front of you guys. Now, the biggest thing is taking the action of actually getting this completed. And by you doing that alone, you're going to be so far ahead than, first off, your competition, but also than you were last year for sure, right? And that's why we do this now in October. So I applaud each and every one of you guys for taking some time today to share that time with us to help you build your business. Do we have any questions from anyone in person or on Zoom? What? Can y'all still hear me on Zoom?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yes.
Thank you. In tandem, I like it.
Yeah,
So
I have a question.
please fire
Hello?
away.
Hey.
Yes.
Hey, Adrian, quick question. What about those agents,
Hey,
those
Lee.
new agents that come from out of town? Hey, how you doing? Hey, what about those new agents from out of town? How can you really build your sphere of influence when you're brand new in a totally new city? We're talking internet, we're talking websites, basically, to build your business first, correct?
Absolutely. I'm gonna let Clarence handle this one.
And I'm speaking from experience. I moved to Atlanta 7 years ago and knew like two people, literally knew two people, and decided to get into real estate. It was the toughest experience. It was tough at the moment. For anyone who's new, my recommendation is to build your sphere of influence by doing the things that you enjoy doing, finding the communities that you enjoy, whether you're an artist or a dancer or, I don't know, you like yoga. Find a group, engage with them regularly, and every single time you're there, just say the words. If ever you know anybody who's buying or selling real estate, remember my name, right? Just say it constantly, consistently, every time you leave a room. But it's all about attaching yourself, or not attaching yourself to, but engaging your affinity groups, whatever those affinity groups are. It could be church, it could be a business, what are they called? Brain lapse. A business club, a business
commerce club,
a networking event.
Yep.
Find your tribe and just talk to your tribe.
Absolutely.
Okay,
And
okay. Great.
Yeah.
We appreciate that.
I'm gonna show you something else too, because y'all have, and I got something on right now, but
Changed my business, what you just said.
That's what changed mine too.
Yeah, that was taught to me from Michelle Pleasant. She's at Alabama Groups.
Mhm.
When she told me that, that's when I started to
Help you.
really make money and do stuff.
Yeah, it's not
But I'm
about.
from here. This was an introvert. She had.
hold on one second. I'm gonna share something with everybody.
I have to challenge myself because I sometimes just want to stay at home.
Yeah, so she was like, you hike. She was like, we like.
And then obviously this is your personal preference, but one thing about us too, there's never been a time that I had any hoodie on from Realty ONE Group Terminus, and all of our stuff is embroidered. It looks really dope. I come from a fashion background. Everybody always asks me, what is ONE Terminus, when they see me with some swag on? Every single person. And then once they realize it's Realty, ONE Group or real estate related, it blows their mind and they want to know more. And then they start to search and then they get my business card and they're like, I've never seen a business card like this, right? And so immediately I'm rising in the top of their head as the person to do business with. And going back to what Clarence was stating, find your tribe, right? You're going to be able to, when it's like-minded individuals, it's not a pitch. You're not being a salesperson. It's real, it's genuine, and they want to work with you because they like you already, or you guys already have something in common, right? So make sure that you put yourself in position to win. And that's
that should be a part of your business plan, actually, finding your tribe.
Absolutely. I'm big on that. You know, a lot of people, they're generalists, which is fine. You can make some money. And you don't have to be, when I say specialize in something, that doesn't mean only do that one thing. But that means you want to be a master of your craft. You want to be the expert in your business, right? Going back to adding value and why buyer brokers or agents are not going to be compensated in the same fashion. You have to be adding value. If you're doing something that I feel like anybody can do, I can do that myself. Do you know how many people I've spoken to was like, oh, I got into real estate because my agent sucked? You know what I mean? Seriously. And it's just like, so if you position yourself as the expert, people are going to be attracted to that, right? Nobody wants a consultant. Just think about it. If you were buying anything, whether it's a car, insurance, clothes, right? Whatever it might be. If I'm in Louis Vuitton, for instance, I don't want to be talking to somebody who I know more about their products than them, right? So become an expert and be specific about what it is that you want to dominate. And before you know it, you're going to be the dominant force in that particular niche, right? Whether that's luxury, whether that's a geographic territory, whatever it may be. So great question. But again, everybody starts from somewhere. Right. So don't get discouraged either if you see that you're in a particular field and there's somebody that's already dominant there. Right. You can look at what they've done to be dominant, but don't get discouraged by that because you're new and you're not new. Nobody in this industry is technically new unless you're coming straight out of high school and then you get your license. Yeah. Right. Everybody has some sort of experience to pull from. Right. So keep that into account. Great question. Anybody else? I know we're a little bit over time, but I like to have these last little, oh, you know what? I meant to stop recording at this point. Let me stop the recording.